Maher, let's now dive into our pitching streamers and our two-start pitcher competition, which is returning for the 2025 season. I think we all agreed that due to some scoring issues that your win was vacated, and I actually came out the victor last year.
Not a win. It was a tie.
No. But you were treating it like a win, and I want to be clear that it's not. That I did win. We had some confirmation from everybody behind the scenes about that, so. We'll remember that I'm the reigning champion of our two-star pitcher competition. I do want to remind everybody before we get into our pitching streamers that if you're struggling with lineup decisions, our lineup assistant recommends optimal lineup suggestions to maximize your team's performance each day or week. Just sync your league for tailored guidance based on your roster and league settings. Download the Fantasy Baseball My Playbook app or visit fantasypros.com/MLB My Playbook to set your winning lineup today. All right, so the way we're going to do the streamers here is, and I pitched this to you last night, so hopefully you were on board with it because you were already asleep when I pitched it to you, is you kind of lay out some of your favorite pitching streamers for the week, and then I will kind of pick my favorite of the ones based on the ones that you laid out and kind of the pitches you made them to me. So you'll have, 5 or 6 or so that you kind of throw my way, and I'll pick the one I like best. How's that sound?
You're the boss.
Am I? In that case, I definitely won our two-star pitcher competition last year. Unilateral executive decision.
But I am a big pitching streamer, so it is kind of my forte. So I'm totally good with that. I was researching a bunch of them this morning, preparing for the show and stuff, and I found a bunch that I'm intrigued by, and I'm also going to include a few that I'm not going to rank because I kind of consider them above the ranking, and so we'll just kind of say hey, if these guys are available, start your list there, and then we'll worry about how we're going to rank these streamers after that.
Okay, go for it.
So starting with the those names that I was just talking about, who are if these players, so the first two are Jesus Luzardo and Dustin May, and the other two I would group in there is Shane Baz and Drew. Is it Rasmussen or Rasmussen? I guess it's Rasmussen. I can never remember how you pronounce his name. So those four I would not consider in this. They may be available in your league because they're all right around that 45 to 50% consensus roster percentage. And it's the kind of thing where if you're on CBS, less likely they're available because the roster percentage is going to be higher on CBS. But if you're on another platform, there's a good chance, at least a 50% chance that they are available. So I didn't want to include them in on the main rankings list because I think they would just blow the other ones out of the water. Maybe you can disagree with those, but I think they're 4 clearly above the other ones who I'm considered widely available in streaming. And Drew Rasmussen, however you say it, he is a SPARP. He is a starting pitcher, relief pitcher eligible player who which is more important in points leagues, where if you have a reliever slot, he can actually start for you in that reliever slot and kind of spam you some points that way. So
for the record, Baseball Reference has it as Rasmussen.
So not even what I was saying. I was emphasizing the wrong syllable, Rasmussen.
You put your emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Exactly. Do you have any thoughts on how you would rank those 4 before I go the rest of the list?
I would probably go Luzardo, Baz, May, Rasmussen would be my gut reaction to that.
Okay. I didn't include the matchups, but I feel those 2 are those 4 are kind of matchup, independent of their matchup.
I think it's fair to include them above the streamer rankings. I think that was an accurate decision by you.
Yeah. And then one name I didn't include for the other reason, I didn't include him. I have 6 names here. The other name I didn't include in my top 6 is Martin Perez, who had a really good first start for the White Sox, and I was considering him as a streaming option against the Red Sox. And he's someone to keep an eye on because if this Red Sox lineup continues to stay really cold, it might be worth streaming him against the Red Sox anyway. But the only thing I didn't like is that he is currently projected to line up against Garrett Crochet. So you might get some empty stats there, depending on how that matchup goes. If Garrett Crochet in his revenge game against the White Sox might go out and throw a gem. So the names that I have for my streaming pitcher rankings: Matthew Liberatore, and he's a 2-start pitcher, and he is relief pitcher eligible, so another kind of cheat code in points leagues. 2 starts at the Pirates and versus the Phillies. Casey Mize, your boy, also 2 starts, but one of them is against the Yankees, but not in Yankee Stadium. So important. The Tiger Stadium Don't have the name of that one memorized, but their ballpark is famously not as hitter friendly as Yankee Stadium. And then at the Twins, who are off to a slow start offensively, so not a terrible matchup there. Eric Fetty, someone I like who doesn't really.
Is the Tiger Stadium not Comerica anymore?
Might be. They may have sold it. I don't know. Eric Fetty.
It is still Comerica.
Nailed it. There you go. Which one's Kauffman Stadium? Or is that the Royals?
That's the Royals. Yeah.
Okay. Eric, I noticed in a bunch of these I'm targeting the Pirates, which wasn't intentional. But they do have they run a lot, but maybe that's why they're running a lot. It's because their offensive numbers aren't projected to be great. But Eric Fetty is someone that I like. He's another one who kind of like reinvented himself overseas and came back and had a strong year last year. Not a ton of strikeouts, but he's a pitcher that I like as a streamer. Zach Littell at home against the Angels. Brady Singer, who I mentioned earlier, again against the Pirates. And then Mitchell Parker, who had a really good first start. He is at the Marlins. So good matchup and good ballpark for a pitcher. So what did you say we're going to do? We're going to that's my list, and you're going to rank them?
I'll pick my favorite. You have your list. You pitch me on them all. I'll pick my pitch, no pun intended.
I will say my list is not in – that's the order I did them, not the order that I ranked them. So they're not rankings for me.
Okay.
But I did put the two-star pitchers at the top.
I am somebody who will almost always, I think, lean toward the two-star pitcher, even if maybe some of the matchups aren't as exciting. So given that I included him as a pickup, I think I just have to go with Casey Mize as my pick following your pitches this week.
Just close your eyes for that Yankee start.
I kind of like Fetty too. If I'm looking at the one-star guys, that's probably what I would do is Mize if I'm doing a two-start or Fetty if I'm doing a one. Did you have a personal favorite? You said this wasn't in order.
It's not in order. I kind of lean Liberatore for maybe I'll go Casey Mize. I was gonna say Liberatore for like the same like two-start reason and because he's relief pitcher eligible, but also I don't love that second start against the Phillies. But yeah, I think I'd probably go Mize with you just because there's a potential there. You're picking him up for what we already talked about. Like you're picking him up for his two-start week, but he also might end up being more than a streamer. He might be a guy you can keep. So if you can kind of like stream a pitcher, see how it goes, and then maybe hold on to him, that's probably the most upside that I'd go with there. But other than that, I also really like Brady Singer. I think, it could just be like me trying to like manifest my destiny here because I've always liked Brady Singer and I've always wanted him to be good. And so now that he's showing something else, maybe it's happening. Although maybe not probably not the best ballpark to have a great season, his home ballpark, now that he's with the Reds.
Those are our streamers. Normally, I'm not going to rush us through this as quickly, but I do have to get going here today. We'll go through our two-star pitcher competition. First of the year, remember, we can pick anybody, but there are no repeats throughout the year. Last year, I used a lot of my best pitchers early. Some people are saying it was a brilliant strategy since I ended up winning the whole thing.
You did not win. We tied.
I'm gonna try. No. You said I'm the boss and I won. So we're gonna go. We'll see how much I get into some of the studs early. It's always tricky too when we record this a day early, like on Wednesday, especially early in the season. It's like sometimes it's a gray area of who's gonna be a two-star pitcher or not this early. I'm going to go with Michael King coming off of, a very strong start here. I think he struck out 11 last night. And he gets the Athletics. He's at that stadium, which I know you said the ball was flying, which is a little concerning, but I'm still going to view them as a matchup I want to go after for the time being. Maybe I'll change that if the stadium really does kind of pan out that way long term. Then he gets the Rockies, but not in Colorado. So I'm going on somebody who had a very strong start, who I always have liked, and who is, having two, I think, fairly easy matchups. By the way, just for scoring this, now that you and I are in that same league together, maybe we can just we can have equal access to how to track who actually is winning on a week-to-week basis. But Michael King, who you actually roster in that league, is my pick to start things off.
I actually thought about that while putting a name in. I was like, oh man, if this is the scoring that we're using, maybe I might actually be able to see what he's talking about and not just have to like trust that he's like not making up these scores if he like wins by 2 points this week. But I went with another pitcher that you like, and that's because we talked about him in draft season. That's Hunter Greene, who is at the San Francisco Giants, so a pretty pitcher-friendly ballpark, and then once again at home versus the Pittsburgh Pirates, someone I'm apparently targeting all over the place right now.
Yeah, you're not a believer in their ability to steal bases. You you thumb your nose up at that.
Apparently not. Apparently not impressed. According to what the
Let's
numbers
get out
are
of here
telling
with some weekend excitement. I don't know why you put this after the 2-start pitchers. We ended with the 2-start pitchers last year, but I guess we're shaking things up this year. What are we looking forward to this weekend? Still a few days away. Like I said, we're taping early. Some of the stuff that I added: Gunnar Henderson probably making his season debut. It might be as early as Thursday, but if you kind of count that as the weekend, really excited to see him back on the field for my favorite team and also for a lot of my fantasy teams. Dodgers Phillies, just going to be a really fun series in general. Two really good teams, two of the best teams in the National League. There is a fun Roki Sasaki Aaron Nola matchup. During that one, we also do get Yamamoto versus Jesus Luzardo, so I'll be really intrigued to see both of those, but that'll be a fun series. And then also we get Yankees versus Pirates, which is really fun because we get the home runs galore team in the Yankees, and we get the stolen bases galore team in the Pirates. So those are my highlights for the weekend. What do you got here?
Well, a little behind the scenes, I put weekend excitement last. I also put a question mark on it because I knew we were going to have a tight schedule today, and I figured if we had to cut anything, we could cut weekend excitement. And
that's why you decided to waste time with this little diatribe.
Exactly. I'm also looking forward to Dodgers Phillies. That was one thing I thought about while coming up with my notes. I'm also one of the reasons we're recording early is because I am traveling this weekend. I'm going up to New Jersey to see some friends and hopefully watch some baseball. I'm interested in seeing Walker Buehler again because his first start was not good. I didn't see a lot of people talking about it, but I was concerned with what I saw. Velocity was down. Just really didn't like he's someone I was really intrigued by in spring training, especially like getting in that new Red Sox pitching program. But his first start was not promising. So I'm very interested to see does he bounce back and kind of look better, or are we in trouble here? And then more importantly, I want more baseball, more data, more normalization of across larger numbers, so I can start betting, because I don't really like to bet or make too many moves early in the season because it's all still brand new. But once we're a couple weeks in, I have a lot more data to work with, and I'm excited about that.
Awesome. We will wrap up there. Hopefully we won't be as rushed in future episodes. Thank everybody for tuning in. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can check out the whole audio version of this entire episode together on the audio side of things, wherever you listen to your podcast. If you're listening on the audio side, you can check these out kind of broken up into individual segments on the video side on YouTube as well. And you can feel free to drop comments on any of those YouTube videos. Let us know what you think. If there are other players you like for pitching streamers or waiver pickups or any of that stuff, we are happy to hear from you. For Maher, I'm Ryan Wormeli. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see you again next time.